Hey guys, Mega Man NG here. We're back with another Gen 6 Wi-Fi battle. It's been a while, but it's good to be back. Today, I'm up against Josh, otherwise known as GeneralSecura, who is a really well-known YouTuber. He does Let's Plays. I'm putting the link in the description if anyone's interested, and enough talk. Let's get this show on the road. He sends out his Cradily, I'm sorry, it's just I have a hard time with this. And I start off with my good old Chansey, who has never let me down. I start things off with a Toxic to get badly poisoned status, which is one of the most useful moves Chansey could have, to like stall it out and do poison damage. He sets up a Stealth Rock, which I can tell that's going to be a problem down the road. However, sadly, the poison kicks in and that does a little damage, and it's going to build up over time. Sadly, that won't happen because he makes a switch. And he sends out Weavile, and normally I would see Weaviles in like a mono ice team, but this is different. It's exerting its pressure, and I go for a Seismic Toss, which does 2 power points instead of 1, but it does 50 damage since it depends on level. It goes for a knockoff, and that does a lot of damage, and it takes out my Eviolite, which, without it, my Chansey's going to end up getting its butt kicked. Doesn't matter though, I go for a Thunder Wave, and it gets paralyzed, which in addition, cuts its speed in half, and I get first turn priority. I go for another Seismic Toss, and that does another 50 damage, which is nice. However, he goes for an Ice Punch, and it does a lot of damage with Stab. The surprising thing is that it actually survived, and I was pretty much amazed. I go for one more Seismic Toss, and that's it. And if it did get a crit, my Chansey would have been down, and that would have turned the tide of the battle completely. I'm happy it survived, which is nice. Anyway, he sends out Lucario, and I'm thinking this one must be a physical attacker. Unfortunately, even though it Mega Evolves, I'm about to prove myself wrong. I really am not kidding. This is a first I've never seen here. He actually goes instead for a Flash Cannon. And the Flash Cannon does take down my Chansey, but it really did surprise me because, at least for once, I can now see a special attacking Lucario in battle. I send in my Arcanine, and it suffers a 25% hit drop because of Stealth Rocks. I was going to think to go for the Flare Blitz, but he predicted that, and he makes a switch, and he actually sends out Avalugg. Dang, I didn't think I would be seeing this coming. I go for the Flare Blitz like planned, and the Flare Blitz does about 45% damage, but Arcanine gets a lot of recoil as a result. My guess, believe it or not, this thing is bulky, especially with a lot of HP. I go for a Morning Sun because I figure why not heal up and get some of that health I lost back. Which would be nice, but unfortunately though, Avalugg decides to recover as well. So basically, we just spend one whole turn getting ourselves back to full strength. I don't think it would matter because I'm going to dish out more pain to him. I go for a Crunch thinking that Flare Blitz may not help, though Crunch does like minuscule damage. He goes instead for an Earthquake, and the Earthquake did a load of damage, like more than half, about like 3/4 or so. And I'm thinking this thing is not only dangerous, but it's also bulky at the same time. I just gotta take it down fast. I do close combat, and personally, I think close combat was a pretty bad move on my part. Yeah, it was a bad move because although Avalugg does suffer some damage, it caused my Arcanine's defenses to drop down by 1 level, which in turn he gets the Earthquake and takes down my Arcanine rather easily. Yeah, a bad misplay on my part, really bad. I should have went for the Morning Sun instead in case he ever tried it. Anyway, it's time I decided to take things up a notch, so I send in my Ferrothorn. And Ferrothorn suffers little damage due to the Stealth Rock since it's resistant to it. He makes a switch, and I'm wondering if it's like a pretty good or bad switch, but that's when he sends in Jirachi, and I go for a Leech Seed, hoping to get some health back. What I'm about to say, more or less, is that this Jirachi was the biggest annoyance I had to deal with in the game. In this battle especially, it was annoying. Yes, Jirachi does have Serene Grace, however, sadly, it goes for the Fire Punch, and that does a load of damage. And he gets a crit and a burn. Yeah. Talk about lucky for him. However, he gets damaged due to, I think, the Iron Barbs and the Rocky Helmet. But I get a Stealth Rock up before it dies. I should have went for the Gyro Ball instead, because at least the Gyro Ball would have just done a whole load of more damage. Not that it matters per se, because despite the fact that I do get some much-deserved Leech Seed boost up, that's not going to really make much of a difference. I make a switch because I know I'm going to have to use it for something. And I send in my trusty Greninja. And believe me, my trusty Greninja never lets me down, even though he gets suffering from Stealth Rock damage. It goes for another Fire Punch, and the Fire Punch doesn't do much damage either way. I'm lucky he didn't get a burn. Yes, this Jirachi has Serene Grace. How he was able to get lucky to get the burn, I don't know. However, I don't think it matters that much because I'm getting some much-deserved HP. He makes a switch, and I'm thinking what else he's got. He's sending out his Credilli once again, the badly poisoned one. And my guess, he's just going to summon out just so he can, like, kill it. I go for the Dark Pulse because I'm thinking, since Jirachi was Psychic, I thought, why not just do a lot of damage to it? However, since the switch, it does a lot less. And yes, I can tell that it also has leftovers just like Avila. However, the poison damage kicks in, and I know for a fact that he's using this Cradilli just to die. I go for another Dark Pulse because there is a slim chance that it can flinch. However, instead it goes for the Giga Drain, and since my type changed before this, thanks to Protean, I suffer a lot less damage. And I'm thinking this Cradilli is not only bulky, but it's designed for survival with a lot of like HP restoring moves such as Giga Drain, Ingrain, Leech Seed, and he also has Stealth Rock too. However, this time I decided enough's enough. I go for the Ice Beam, changing into an Ice type, and deliver a major dose of pain. I should have done that from the beginning. It would have saved me a lot of time and trouble. But nope, I was a bit careless on my part. Anyway, he sends out Lucario once again, and this is the special attack in Lucario that I mentioned. Pointed Stones dug like before. I go for a Surf, and I'm surprised it does not have something like Vacuum Wave. I go for the Surf, and the Surf does about more than half damage. He goes instead now for a Flash Cannon, and the Flash Cannon really doesn't do... It does a lot of damage, believe me, but it wasn't very effective. One more Surf should probably do it, and it does, finally taking out that Lucario. I am impressed that my opponent, Sakura, actually does have a special Lucario. Very impressive. However, he goes into Starmie, and this Starmie is pretty much faster than my Greninja. Well, not really, I was just saying out loud, because I thought it was. I go for the Dark Pulse, changing into the Dark type, and Dark Pulse pretty much took it down, and I'm like, thank you. Because my guess is that the Starmie had Rapid Spin, and if I had another attack, he would have used Rapid Spin, and he would have just blown away the Stealth Rocks, reducing it as a threat. So now he sends in Jirachi, and he goes instead for an Iron Head, and the Iron Head does some damage and takes down my Greninja. I'm thinking, this thing probably isn't Choice Banded. It has to be Choice Scarfed. It has to be. How could it be faster than my Greninja when its base speed's a little less than that? Anyway, I go into Gardevoir, tracing Jirachi, and I discovered it has Serene Grace. However, personally, I feel I should have not let him on the battlefield because, to be fair, he's going to go down regardless. I Mega Evolve into Mega Gardevoir, but that means absolutely nothing. He goes for an Iron Head, and the Iron Head takes down Gardevoir. And yeah, like the Starmie before it, it doesn't get a chance to do anything. And I send in my Electivire, and this is all I have left, and this is where, unfortunately, luck decides to favor him over me. He goes for the Iron Head. It does some damage, but unfortunately, he gets the flinch. One flinch. Now he does another Iron Head. Guess what happens next? He gets another flinch. That makes 2. He goes for an Iron Head one more time. That makes 3. Takes out my Electivire without even, Electivire didn't do anything. I'm like, what? It got me angry. However, sadly, it doesn't matter because this match is now over. I send in my Ferrothorn, and I needed something to die, and he goes for one more Iron Head and takes it down. Brilliant battle, my friend. This battle was actually pretty good. But my favorite thing about this was that even though my Ferrothorn goes down, Jirachi goes down thanks to the Iron Barbs and Rocky Helmet. Thank you. Though despite the fact that I did beat Jirachi, I still lost anyway. But do I care? Not really. I really enjoyed this battle. I really did, and it was a lot of fun. Thank you very much, GeneralSecura. I really appreciate it. Please check out his YouTube channel because he does Let's Plays of all different games, and I look forward to watching whatever he has. I look forward to watching the battle that he has on his end. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. It does mean a lot to me, GeneralSecura, and to everyone who watches it. I look forward to doing more Wi-Fi battles in the coming days because I'm going to be providing a lot for everyone to see. Alright, peace guys.